Chapter 9, Part 3. Please remember, this lecture is a continuation in addition to reading the text. Development during infancy and childhood. The newborn. Initially, the newborn's behavior is mostly limited to reflexes. Touching the newborn's cheek triggers the rooting reflex. Touching the newborn's lips evokes the sucking reflex. Because of the grasping reflex, the baby will grip your fingers so tightly that he or she can be lifted upright. The newborn senses, vision, hearing, smell, and touch are keenly attuned to people, helping this infant quickly learn to differentiate between the mother and other humans. Within just hours of birth, newborns display a preference for their mother's voice and face over that of a stranger. Vision is the least developed sense at birth. Optimal viewing distance for the newborn is about 6 to 12 inches, the perfect distance for a nursing baby to easily focus on his mother's face and make eye contact. Physical development. At birth, the newborn's brain is 25% of her adult weight. The newborn's weight, by contrast, is 5% of her eventual adult weight. The basic sequence of motor skill development during infancy is universal, but the average ages can be a little deceptive. Each infant has his or her own genetically programmed timetable for physical maturation and developmental readiness to master different motor skills. Social and personality development. Temperamental qualities. Babies are different. Inborn predispositions to consistently behave and react in a certain way define temperament. In the 1950s, Thomas and Chess rated young infants on a variety of characteristics, such as activity level, mood, regularity in sleeping and eating, and attention span. About a third of the infants were characterized as average babies because they did not fit neatly into one of the three broad temperamental patterns. Easy babies readily adapt to new experiences, generally display positive moods and emotions, and have regular sleeping and eating patterns. Difficult babies tend to be intensely emotional, are irritable and fussy, and tend to have irregular sleeping and eating patterns. Slow to warm up babies have a low activity level, withdraw from new situations and people, and adapt to new experiences very gradually. Jerome Kagan has classified temperament in terms of reactivity. High reactive infants react intensely to new experiences, strangers, and novel objects. They tend to be tense, fearful, and inhibited. Low reactive infants tend to be calmer, uninhibited, and bolder. They tend to be sociable and are more likely to show interest than fear when exposed to new people, experiences, and objects. Virtually all temperament researchers agree that temperament has a genetic and biological basis, but that environmental experiences can modify a child's basic temperament. Cultural beliefs can also affect infant temperament. Attachment, forming emotional bonds. Attachment is the emotional bond that forms between infant and caregivers, especially his parents. According to the attachment theory developed by John Bowlby and Mary D. Salter Ainsworth, an infant's ability to thrive physically and psychologically depends in part on the quality of attachment. When talking about culture and human behavior, it is good to note that infant sleeping arrangements reflect cultural goals for child rearing and cultural values for relations among family members. Infants in the United States usually sleep in separate rooms from birth on, or after 3 to 6 months of age. Small children and their parents often engage in elaborate bedtime rituals. Mayan infants in Guatemala sleep with their mothers until age 2 or 3, and then sleep with another family member. There are no bedtime rituals. Infants can form multiple attachments. Depending upon the parents, infants can form secure or insecure attachments. Secure attachment occurs when parents are consistently warm, responsive, and sensitive to their infant's needs. Cross-cultural studies have confirmed that sensitivity to the infant's needs is associated with secure attachment in diverse cultures. Secure attachment may develop when an infant's parents are neglectful, inconsistent, or insensitive to the infant's moods or behavior. The quality of attachment during infancy is associated with a variety of long-term effects during early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescence. Effects of childcare on attachment and development. High-quality daycare can potentially benefit children, even when it begins in early infancy. Low-quality daycare can potentially contribute to social and academic problems in later childhood. This concludes this part of Chapter 9.